Greetings, dear assorted listeners. Welcome to another episode of Captain Casual's Rambling About. You're listening to Amalia today, and I shall ramble to you about our newest project, Drum Beets, with 2 E's. So off we go. Right, so what is it and what's with the silly name? Well, we've been wanting to do some sort of short-form content, especially for YouTube Shorts, for a while, you see. Because having small little bits to share between full song releases would be really nice. Both from a personal perspective, because, you know, we'd like to actually put out something other than the occasional Facebook posts more than once a month. And also because, well, let's be honest, it appeases the almighty algorithms and things of that nature. But for a good while, we didn't have a clue what to do with it. We can't really do, like, pieces to camera because, well, our cameras are all rubbish. You know, we have a phone camera, a tablet camera, and a webcam, and all of them are absolute garbage. So, we thought of maybe doing mini instrument reviews with just pictures in there, but, well, while we do have a decent little collection of instruments, we would run out of them eventually and be back to square one. And some of them wouldn't be very interesting to talk about anyway. You know, what can we say about just a little shaker? It'd be a very, very short video. So we did consider just recording ourselves, doing a bit of noodling on any instrument we like a while back, but the issue we saw with that was that again, you'd want a video, and that would require a camera that can do more than 5 megapixels or so. And also, it honestly probably just wouldn't have been good enough to give you something interesting to watch or listen to, you know. A bit of noodling is meh. So, yeah, we also didn't want to go the route of, like, reusing snippets from our pre-existing videos because, well, if we're gonna put the time in, right, to edit a video, even if it's just a short one, we'd rather make something new, something interesting. You know, we don't really want to go down that rabbit hole of, hey, let's just recycle previous clips from videos. And then in early December, with advent calendars going on and all that, we were just having some silly thoughts together, thinking about how many years of preparation it would probably take to have an advent calendar where you release like a full new original song every day. Well, obviously it's completely unrealistic, especially for someone of our means, but we sort of thought, well, it might be feasible if instead of doing full songs, you do like short, simple little beats, maybe half a minute or so each, right? And then, having had that thought, it hit us like lightning. Leaving Advent aside, that idea of short, relatively simple little beats suddenly occurred to us as just the perfect idea for YouTube Shorts content. Because, yeah, like doing 24 of them for an Advent calendar would still be a fairly large project, you know, relatively speaking. But if one were to just make those shorts as a sort of semi-regular short-form content that they can just release on their channel whenever they have something to share, it suddenly becomes a rather attractive little idea. You know, it's much better than a bit of aimless noodling on camera, because keeping it to just a couple of layers and of course keeping it short, we can actually put in a decent bit of production work without having it turn into a huge massive project each time. So we can produce little sound bites that hopefully do actually sound good and are fairly quick to make, meaning that we can share a handful of them between song releases, between our big main projects, and we finally have something that can fill the sort of YouTube Shorts gap that we've been pondering. We might even put these on Instagram and maybe other places as well, you know. Facebook has Reels too, I believe. Maybe we can like cross-post between Instagram and Facebook. We'll see. And there's actually a really big bonus for us as a musician. Because you see, having a little side project like that means that if we find ourselves a little stuck with whatever big project, big song we're working on at the moment, we can just take a short little break for an evening from it. You know, get creative with a bit of a small beat, you know, put one or two of those little drum beats together and, you know, come back to our song the next day. Maybe freshly recharged because we've now had the opportunity to try something new and just, yeah, you know. It also means that if we ever find ourselves in a position where our sort of one song per month schedule gets interrupted or doesn't quite work out for any reason, we wouldn't have to feel too bad because we still have something small we can share, you know, over time. So really, the idea is a win-win. It's yeah. Anyway, that's why, starting today, we're gonna share Drum Beets with 2 E's with you. But you might be wondering, what's with the daft name? Why is it named after a root crop? What have you done, you buffoons? Well, you see, we actually live in a rather rural German town with a big sugar beet processing plant. And it just so happens that we had this idea at the tail end of the local beet season. So for the last few weeks, we've been quite regularly seeing truck and tractor loads full of sugar beets, right? And between the two of us, one of us, when we see these trucks and tractors, between the two of us, one of us will usually go, "Oh look, it's a load of fat beets." And yes, we are that cheesy, but simply put, having had that idea at that time, we simply couldn't resist turning it into a thing, so yeah, there you have it. That's why we now have a show called Drum Beets with 2 E's. We actually were gonna call it Sugar Beets, but we did find that there's at least one band that actually uses that name, and, you know, we don't want to come into any conflicts by accident. Beet Sugar was also a working title, but, well, I don't know, that at some point you're moving away quite far from the original intended effect, right? So then it occurred to us, Drum Beets, especially as we were working on the logo, you know, sort of conga style drum. Well, actually, don't tell this to anyone, but actually the top of those drums, those silhouettes, they're cut out from taiko drums. You know, the big Japanese drums. Don't tell anyone, because we've used them for conga style drums here. But, you know, yeah, as we were designing that logo, it occurred to us, like, why don't we just call it Drum Beets? It, you know, people will actually find it then, and not be completely confused by beet sugar. But that, my dear listeners, that will do for today's rambling, as I believe. We do hope today's show was interesting for you, maybe even interesting enough to have a closer look at those like and subscribe buttons. That would be most kind. Also, check out all of our music, of course, and follow our socials if you'd be so inclined. And leave a comment letting us know how much you appreciate the creative possibilities of this little project, or just how much you despise it for being short-form content. Either way, it does feed the algorithm, you know. But that will be enough from us. Till next time, dear listeners, stay safe and have a good one.